So as you guys know from my previous video that I made about aquarium fertilizer or planet tank fertilizers, I should say, I have been using fertilizers in my tank for a long time, and as I said in that other video, liquid nutrients for a planet tank is absolutely vital to its overall health and basically its survival. I really, once again, as I said in the other video, I cannot imagine owning a planet tank without using liquid nutrients because it's just so essential to life in a planet tank. I thought I would focus on the new ones that I got, not iron or potassium, which those nutrients are vital to a planet tank, but the other three that are, I guess you could say, are kind of optional. I mean, they do help and they do provide stuff to plants that to your aquarium plants that they need to grow and stuff. But like I said, they're pretty optional, and they're not really necessary. If you're on a budget, with your planet tank, you don't really have to invest in these. But of course, investing in these extra nutrients, going the extra mile, will only benefit your tank. So let's talk a little bit about these three nutrients. I'm not going to get too technical about these things because I see no need for that. I know there are some people on YouTube that like to get into like the science and the exact molecular breakdown of every nutrient, but I don't think it's necessary to do that because I honestly feel that if you buy a product that plants need to grow and to stay alive, you dose it accordingly. You don't overdose. You use it properly. I mean, and it benefits your tank. I mean, that's pretty much all you need to know. You don't need to know the exact science behind it. That doesn't really benefit you in any way. I don't know the exact science behind it, and I've owned planet tanks since I was 5 years old. So it's not necessary. So I'm not going to get into the scientific aspect of each nutrient, but I will say that nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium, NPK as their most well known. That's a system of fertilization for those of you guys. Look it up on Google. I'm sure you can find some more information about it. But these nutrients, nitrogen is really good. Plants like this stuff. I don't dose it that often because it does cloud the water. It's kind of similar to potassium where you kind of have to dose it once every 2 weeks, not once a week as it says on the bottle. Just because your water will like be cloudy for the entire time until your plants absorb all these nutrients, and it does take at least 24 hours. So if you're dosing this once a week, your tank may clear up in 24 hours, or it may stay cloudy for longer than that. Mine clears up in 24 hours, but I can't speak for everybody. So I dose this once every 2 weeks just to stay safe, and I notice a big benefit. The plants grow much faster. For example, my pearl weed that I planted in here, I planted that I think it's been about a month since I've had this tank up and running. And, ever since I started dosing nitrogen when in this tank, because I didn't dose nitrogen or anything at first, mainly because I didn't have the nutrients, and also because I just wanted to give the tank some time to start up. But as soon as I started dosing nitrogen, probably about 3 or 4 days later, actually it's only been about 2 days because I just got my shipment of this stuff. The plants just seem to like explode with growth. The stem plants that grow along the bottom of the tank, runner type plants, I noticed they just grow so much faster. And especially with plants like pearlweed, Rotala rotundifolia that already grow fast as it is, it just makes them like literally shoot for the stars, honestly. So nitrogen, very essential and provides excellent growth, very fast growth in my opinion. Now we'll move on to Flourish Phosphorus. This once again goes back to that NPK system of fertilization. That's nitrogen. I think it's it's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That's those three ingredients in that system. Phosphorus, it's hard to say what phosphorus has done for my planet tank, because while it's a combination of phosphorus and all the other nutrients I use, I can't honestly say what phosphorus does individually. But I will say that adding general phosphorus, other products that contain phosphorus alone can cause a huge increase in algae. And I don't know why scientifically why that happens, but I just know that it does. And what's special about Flourish Phosphorus is that it's nitrate free, which I guess, as it says on the bottle, can cause algae. So meaning you can pretty much use as much as you want of this stuff, to build up your phosphorus level without the possible increase of an algae outbreak or an algae growth. And I've noticed that too, because I've used competitor, phosphorus products, and I've noticed a lot of spot algae, a lot of brown, blue-green algae growing. But when I've used Flourish Phosphorus, I don't get any algae growth from this stuff. And I mean, the algae that does grow is just, the clear stuff on the glass, It's nothing, really like nuisance algae. So Flourish Phosphorus, in my opinion, is the best because it doesn't contain any of the stuff that does promote algae growth. And you can dose as much as you want. Of course, not the entire bottle at one time or anything crazy, but you can dose as much as you want to get your phosphorus level up to where it should be, to whatever the parts per million it should be. Or that you desire, and you don't have to worry about an algae outbreak, and it's beneficial to your plants. So Flourish Phosphorus, another great nutrient from Seachem, from their Flourish line. Now, one thing I do want to say is that a lot of people, for some reason, I've been noticing recently from at pet stores or the chain pet stores, I hear conversations whenever I go to these stores, and sometimes I cringe when I hear employees telling people that you should use RO water, for your freshwater tank because it's very, very pure and it's perfect for a planted tank, especially because it decreases the risk of an algae outbreak, or bad things or bacterial blooms or things like that. And, I'll just say right now that RO water for a planted tank does not benefit it at all. And the main reason why is because RO water does not contain any minerals. It doesn't contain anything beneficial for plants. It's basically toxic to plants because if you put plants in RO water, over time you'll notice that they'll start discoloring, they'll start yellowing, unless you add a bunch of nutrients into the water. Not only what I'm about to talk about, Flourish Trace, but a bunch of other stuff. And every time you do that, every time you do a water change and you have to do that, you're just going to be wasting money because you have to use all your nutrients all the time to make the water appropriate for a planted tank. So RO water is not necessary for a planted tank, and I don't know why so many people recommend it for planted tanks or freshwater tanks even. It's not necessary. Using water out of your tap is much better because tap water naturally contains minerals, especially if you live in like a wooded area. Like, for example, I lived in Beaverton, Oregon a while ago when I was a kid, and our water from our tap came from a natural spring, and it was filled with minerals. And when I had my tank at the time and I used that water, it was honestly a blessing. It was literally like bringing nature into my home because the water was so pure. But use tap water because it contains minerals already, and using Flourish Trace, which is basically just trace minerals, will further enhance those minerals in your water. Minerals are beneficial to us, they're beneficial to plants. Minerals are pretty much one of the building blocks of life. So trace minerals are very important, and adding this will just be an added benefit to your planted tank. So once again, something else I recommend. So this is the entire collection of Flourish, the Flourish line, which of course, like I mentioned before, I don't have Flourish Excel or Flourish here, but other than those two nutrients, or those two products, I should say, because they're not really nutrients individual, this is the entire collection from the Flourish line, and all great stuff for your tank. So dosing all these things accordingly, following the directions on the bottle, based on your plant load, based on the size of your tank, you'll notice an extreme benefit in your planted tank. And like I said before, I can't imagine having my planted tank without using this stuff, because I know if I did it, I would not have the results that I'm having right now, or that I've had before in the past. I would not notice such excellent growth or excellent color, or just the overall health. I wouldn't notice any of those things. My plants just don't grow the same without nutrients, and it goes back to what I'm saying. Nutrients are just so important to a planted aquarium. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget about the contest I'm having. Go to my Facebook page, post a comment, like I said, and for your chance to win the eShop's automatic top-out system. It's a really great product, and I know somebody out there is really going to like it. And also, don't forget to check out jacobsaquarium.com. If you're in the market for some aquarium plants, you can definitely find plenty of them there. And I add new plants to my website all the time. So thanks again, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. Have fun with your tanks, and I'll see you next time.